Okay, so this video has you're meeting with Dr. Jacob. I don't know how to pronounce the last name.
Dr. Jacob Hack Misra.
Okay, and who is he?
Dr. Jacob is he's actually a meteorologist, and by education, but he's also an astrobiologist that studies planetary science, planetary atmospheres, and things like that. And he has an interest in the recent developments regarding UFOs, UAP,
Uh-huh.
as to what the actual science of studying them are. And that is the discussion that we had, which was actually done like 2 days ago and right after the congressional hearings on it. And we just decided to get together and talk. Now, just before this, I actually interviewed one of the Congress people. So I had to do two interviews in a row, which is really hard. But this one turned out well, and we had a pretty robust discussion about UAP in the context of, or UFOs in the context of going into the actual science of it, rather than getting bogged down into the stigma or getting bogged down into the the dubious claims that are rife in that. And we just considered the possibility that, all right, well, maybe there's something in there. Maybe there's something to it that we can study in science and come to some sort of a conclusion about it, or a null conclusion and say there's nothing to it, or we are, getting visited by some kind of an alien civilization or something like that. We just openly discussed it and got rid of the stigma.
Nice. And that's so you watched the hearing, right?
Yes.
All on your own. You had a
Mhm.
reaction video, which we didn't watch because I didn't want anything like going into it. I didn't want any,
Right.
you know, any kind of like bias. And you and I talked about that. Let's start a little bit there. So what before we go into this, what are your thoughts on the hearing itself?
I think it was remarkable in its bipartisan nature.
Mm-hmm.
It is really amazing to see a Republican congressman like Tim Burchett
Mm-hmm.
sitting next to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez
AOC, yeah.
and everybody getting along and actually running the hearing properly. My big takeaway from it was that sometimes Congress can still lay down their differences and get something done. And they did in this case for the most part. Now, one congressman did get political, but the rest of them didn't. And I was very happy to see that. I actually gained a little bit more respect back for the U.S. Congress than I had before.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. It was very interesting. I was actually surprised to see some of the congressmen that usually are pretty dumb, and I see them pop up in the news because of dumb things. Seeing them ask like good questions
Well,
or make good
actually,
statements, you know?
yeah, and I thought overall the questions across the board were very intelligent and informed.
Yeah.
So I thought that, I was like, wow, this is nice. I also think it's of the utmost importance that it is bipartisan in nature and non-ideological, because I think we might have a problem here. Just today, and this isn't even out there yet. Just today, they tried to get David Grush, one of the witnesses, in a skiff, which is a secured room, essentially, that's been swept of bugs and everything.
Uh-huh.
And the Pentagon refused it. They stopped it. They stopped Congress from interviewing one of the witnesses in a secure environment
Already?
already. Yep.
Okay, so that's where I thought a lot of this could be just like posturing, right? So I, my takeaway was like maybe they're distracting us from something, and I just threw out some really dumb ideas. I have no idea. They're
Could be. It could all be some unholy, weird psyop
it could be, but like
information.
exactly. But I didn't. I was throwing out like just stupid examples last night, being like maybe it's about the the AMOC weakening of.
Well,
I mean,
you don't know. You don't know what it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in
We
here for the unholy psyop.
Yeah, the unholy psyop. The thing is that that's the one thing in this that we can prove, in that they do actually perpetrate unholy psyops. The U.S. government, I mean, look at something like, their experiments with minorities and syphilis,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
or how about dumping radioactive materials to see distribution habits?
Oh, all
From
of that stuff.
things?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they do some weird stuff and they do some very unethical stuff. So you have to ask the question, is this whole UFO thing something like that that's gotten out of hand and made it to Congress? We don't know. We
Right.
don't know. We just don't know.
We just
or
don't. Yeah.
or Roswell happened, for God's sakes. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or, you know, like there could be some meat here too. And that's the thing is I have a lot of people that are hard defending. And so when I see anybody taking like there's like two sides, right? Of like, this is all ridiculous. Like, shut up. Or there's the, oh no, it's definitely the truth. This is, I told you so. This is going on. You know, this is, we've got them. We've got UFOs, UAPs. We got it all. I like to stay right in the middle of that because I feel like if you go on either side of that, then yikes. Right.
Yeah, yikes. But the thing is, you have to always remember at the very base of this, and which this is what this interview is going to be about. When you go to the very basics of it, nothing in the laws of physics prevents the UFO phenomenon from being something of potentially alien origin. Physics doesn't prohibit that. So it is plausible.
Sure.
The question is, how unlikely is it? You know,
right.
And that's the big question. But at the same time, you know, you're going to get a huge polarization between people that truly believe, you know, that this represents an alien civilization or something else, you know, something else weird, whatever, versus the diehard skeptics or pseudo skeptics.
I love it. I love it.
They're not going to believe anything.
Yeah, go into what a pseudo skeptic is, John, please.
Yeah, exactly. Well, a pseudo skeptic is somebody that has a dogma that is, it can't be.
Right.
Okay. Now, with an alien civilization and alien life, you can't say that because it can be, because we are someone else's alien civilization. We self-prove the concept. So you can't totally discount it. And if you look in the scientific literature, you know, crawl around on archive and all that and look at it, scientists are proposing alien explanations all the time.
Yep.
You know, they do that and they throw them out. But the thing is that you need evidence and proof.
Yes.
Well, we don't have that with the UFO phenomenon, but we could get it, because if you can see something flying through the atmosphere, you know, somebody sees a flying object.
TikTok, a flying TikTok. I'm kidding. Tic Tac.
Whatever. Yeah, it's TikTok. Yeah, the TikTok. Jesus. I couldn't even. I had so much trouble through that hearing with some of the things. Anyway, the orange TikTok, that means it's interacting with the electromagnetic spectrum and is therefore you can collect data on it.
Right.
And that's the bottom line. And so that's sort of where it's at, is that it is studyable. And you could apply, you know, a rigorous scientific study on it and come up with some kind of an answer, you know, instead of this 80-year thing that we've all been talking about, you know, UFOs and all this, you know, with all different flavors of a take on it, you know, skeptical or otherwise, because at one end, it's almost religion.
Right.
Right.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Disclosure. And the other thing is that you have a whole bunch of very wild claims, you know, of alien proctology exams.
Yes. It's all about the probing. I already told chat, you know, get your butts ready. Yeah,
exactly. And the thing is that is not helpful, because that partially created the stigma against asking the question, what is this? People wanted to avoid it because they're like, well, there's a guy talking about a probing, you know, I was taken aboard a flying saucer and given a complete physical, you know, that type of thing. But at the same time, I don't want to diminish that there are some things within this that are very sort of frightening, because these things appear to be linked with injuries. You know, see a UFO and you end up with brain damage.
Sure.
Well, we can't ignore that. Or aviation accidents involving UFOs, which I know of two that were fatal, that, you know, were linked to UAPs or UFOs. So
things like radiation and such too, right?
Radiation and, you know, really broadband radiation. And you can actually even general relativity and blue shifting and, sorts of things that the doctors have seen in people that have been exposed to UFOs. Well, ethically, we can't ignore it because of that. We
Right.
have to, in science, look at it and see exactly what this is because, and people say there is no evidence for the UFOs. There's medical evidence. Injuries are evidence. So they're exposed to something. The question is what is it? Could it even be weirder than aliens? Could it be something that Earth's atmosphere does that we don't understand?
Yeah. Yeah. And you and I talked about that a bit. It could even be something from somewhere else.
Dark matter. What does dark matter look like if it somehow physically manifests in our three-dimensional universe?
Ooh.
What would it look like? And Carl Sagan actually talked about this many years ago.
I remember it.
Tesseract. You remember that?
Yeah. But go on. Explain it.
What would the brain see if it saw something that had no paradigm in which to interpret? Because remember, 90% of what you see is your brain painting in, an image.
Right.
And so what would you see if you saw something that was made of dark matter that suddenly became visible through some physical process that we can't yet even envision because we don't even know what dark matter is. We don't even have a good theory of what gravity is.
No, I mean, we can observe it, but that's only in our own natural world, right?
So who's to say that stuff, the other 90% of the universe, can somehow, occasionally be seen, and what would you see it as,
Right.
So I leave the option open there because we just don't know. And I love the idea of, I love two ideas in life. One is we don't know everything.
True.
And I absolutely love that because it'd be pretty boring if we did.
It'd be so boring if we knew everything.
If we knew everything. And the other is that I can be wrong and my skepticism can be wrong. And that is when I learned something new. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of trying to explore this topic with an open mind, but at the same time, I'm still very skeptical that it's an alien civilization. Right.
Well, I mean, I think, again, you're not doing the pseudo skeptical stuff, right? Where it's like it's completely closed off. Yeah. Having an open mind.
At it openly. But I can say that I have come to one conclusion. The Loch Ness Monster exists.
Oh, Nessie exists?
Only because I wanted to. Because if you gave me a choice between aliens, ghosts, and all this stuff, the one that I really want to exist is the Loch Ness Monster.
You went Nessie? Oh my God. True though. To be honest, that's a. So Bill asked a question: how much of the effect is diminished? Let me see here. With the advent of Hollywood horror and science fiction films, are we better adapted to perceive truly alien things than, say, American natives seeing their first
caravels? Well,
I was going to say caravels, but I'm kidding.
That's a good question because you're talking about paradigms. So the question is when people saw the Spanish caravels coming across, say they were Aztecs, how would they interpret it? Well, they probably knew what it was. They were just like looking at something that they knew it was a boat. They knew it was, something different. And they were probably like, how does that thing work? So they would have known. But here's the question. What about if we took Nicholas Copernicus, right? Mm-hmm. And handed him an iPhone and said, tell me what this is.
Oh, no.
What would he have said? He would have said, well, I don't know what this is. And then he would have freaked the fuck out.
A device that's going to destroy humanity.
Exactly. He would have freaked out once he actually touched it and the screen came alive. Remember, this guy he wouldn't even know what electric lighting was.
Right.
So you're holding a candle essentially in your hand that doesn't produce heat, so that's the paradigm problem, is that he wouldn't have been able to tell you really what it is, because not only does he not know what it is, he doesn't know how it works. He doesn't know about the cell towers. He doesn't know about reception. He doesn't know about any of that. So you could hand Isaac Newton that cell phone and say, back engineer this. And he would be like, What?
Uh-huh.
What is it? It's made of he wouldn't even know that it was made of plastic. You
Right.
know, he would spend his entire career trying to figure out what plastic was.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the way to think about it, I think, is that your paradigm tells you, you know, only your experience. But if you're stuck with something of another paradigm, an alien device or something like that, you're never going to figure that out. You're only going to figure it out once you develop the technology for yourself. And then you look back and you're like, hey, that's what that was. That's all you can do.
A Doctor says there have been a few papers. I know A Doctor was like, put me on. He's that one of the devs with Space Engine. Remember?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do. Yes.
There have been a few papers, hypothetical notions on dark matter condensates and certain models showing it potentially behaving like the Bose-Einstein condensate.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's open territory. We don't know.
Don't know. We need a better model. I think we all agree on this.
Yes.
Uh-huh. It's a lazy model we have right now. Again, we really don't understand gravity.
The thing is that humanity throughout the history of science has worked on partial models, right?
Right.
So you go back to, I don't know, Aristotle, and that was the model. And they were hoping that it was the answer,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't. And, we go with Galileo and we have to revise our priors. And then we, thought that, okay, Newton is right. So Newtonian physics is everything. No, it turns out it was partial. So then comes general, relativity, special relativity for that matter. So we keep revising because what we do know for certain is that we don't know everything and we don't have a complete picture of the universe. And we may be seeing something with whatever this phenomenon is that we just simply don't, it's not in our paradigm,
Right. Right.
Or there could be absolutely nothing to it, and it's all some weird psyop.
And I really hope it's not. But I feel like what we got yesterday was a lot of people talking, and then when the questions were good, it was like, I can't talk about that publicly. And it sounds like, again, even behind closed doors, they were pretty much shut down again.
They were shut down, yeah. So
then what's the point, right?
There's some sort of effort to hide something. But that works if you go with a psyop. If they've waged an 80-year campaign on misleading the public and throwing out BS stories, that's just as bad as if they've been hiding, some sort of thing regarding aliens. It's just as bad.
Right.
Either way, what we can say now is that we actually do have some sort of deep state. I hate to use the term, but it is.
Right.
That is apparently above in some ways Congress. And that's I think that was the big bombshell of the hearing, was that one of the congressmen it said that they were willing to invoke the Holman rule.
The Holman, right? Yeah, I heard that.
And the Holman rule, it allows the House to go in and basically defund programs and fire people.
Right. And what's the likelihood of that?
I don't know that we've ever seen it.
I don't think so. We have, right?
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen it invoked in that way. So I'm hoping. Well, what they were trying to do is they were saying, look, we have teeth. We're the government's checkbook, and we can withdraw your funds. So tell us the truth. And you would expect that they would fall in line and say, okay, here you go. Even if it was nothing. And they're like, yeah, we don't know anything more about, UFOs than what we said, publicly. You would expect that they would just go to that, and that position and say, here you go. This is what we know, but they don't do that. They do some very weird stuff. If you FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, if you FOIA the U.S. government and ask them, send me all materials that you can declassify on materials recovered from UFOs.
Right.
You would expect they would say, we got nothing, right? We have no such thing.
Right.
You don't get that. You get 150 pages of documents on metamaterials.
Right. Exactly.
What? Why is that? And again, I hate this. I'm a science guy. I would love to never actually ever address the UFO phenomenon because I'm a skeptic. But I can't ignore it now, and I can't tell you that there is any difference between a UFO and a von Neumann probe.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfectly okay for me to talk about von Neumann probes on YouTube and how you could colonize the entire galaxy within, a few million years at sublight speeds, and it's within the laws of physics. But what I can't do is make the distinction of that being in the atmosphere. It's perfectly okay if it's in the solar system.
Right.
You can talk about that, but you can't talk about it if it's in the atmosphere. And that's the stigma and the taboo. And I'm just not going to be a party to it. I am not going to be a stooge of a taboo.
So Muhalo asks, how can you defund something that which doesn't exist?
Well, the thing is, you got to know where it exists. And with the UFO phenomenon, if David Grush's claims are correct. Grush. If his claims are correct and that they do actually have materials associated with UAP, and call it Roswell, whatever, it's unlikely that it's going to be under the Pentagon's purview. It's more likely that it's going to be the Department of Energy, because they run Los Alamos and they run all the national labs, which are actually contracted out to a private company, which is really mysterious.
Right.
But it's more likely to be there. So if the people that are looking into the UFO stuff think it's the Pentagon, they're never going to look there. It gets even worse if it gets transferred into the contractor system, because the contractor doesn't have to tell you anything, trade secrets, rules,
Right.
So it could be kept secret for sure. But at the same time, how far do you want to go in speculation? Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Bill said the DOE can be just as scary as the DOD.
The DOE is actually even more scary, to be honest with you.
Kind of what he's.
Let me tell you a little story here.
Please do.
The Department of Energy can be so secretive that they can forget their own freaking secret. And there is a material called fog bank, codenamed fog bank, and it's probably an aerogel that is a sort of a facilitator for the detonation of a hydrogen bomb, right? And it's used in nuclear weapons. Fog bank was first synthesized in 1975, and you guys can look this up on Wikipedia. You'll find the article. Fog bank was first synthesized in 1975 and was kept so secret that too many people retired out of government or died to actually record what it was. So they had to actually go in to re-engineer fog bank, and they started, I think, in 1996 to re-engineer it so that they could refurbish the nukes and extend their service life. They didn't figure it out until 2007, over 10 years, to figure out this material, because no one wrote anything down. It was so compartmentalized and so restricted that we forgot how to make this aerogel that we require for our nuclear arsenal. And they still, to this day, everything about this material is classified within the Department of Energy, and we don't really know for sure what this aerogel is. And that's the thing, is that it was actually it's Oak Ridge National Laboratories where this was, which is under the Department of Energy. They actually just, they can keep an extreme secret, so secret, and be so secretive that they actually forget their own secret.
Yeah. Floyd says, not a big fan of private companies handling government matters. And then A Doctor's been saying a few things, and he's typing in paragraphs. So this is a while back. The Congressional Budget Office in 2018 attempted and failed vote was 139 to 276. Used to cut the Western Area Power Administrator Mark Gabriel's salary to $1 for alleged misconduct. The Holman Rule was then removed from law in 2019 after Democrats took control of the chamber. Following the 2022 midterms, the Holman Rule was reinstated. but has not been used since its reinstatement.
Right. Yep.
And then he also said that you nailed it on the head, basically, which is one part of the ongoing issues right now with the rights to subpoena and the bill under consideration, which includes eminent domain over private companies.
Yes, which, by the way, shows the bipartisan nature of this, because that bill, which will pass, it was put in by Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, and backed up by Marco Rubio. So these two people that would normally not agree on anything actually agree on that law, and they're trying to get it passed in August. They're trying to ram it through Congress because it puts deadlines on things. This legislation actually makes it illegal for you and I to own an alien spacecraft. So,
I'm just going to put that off my, I need to make sure that I'm taking that off my Amazon wish. Okay.
Do not buy an alien spacecraft.
Okay. Will not do that.
Yeah. And that means that they force the contractor's hands if they actually have something, if there's something to this.
Rev says he's going to close his garage door now.
Yeah, I'm going to bury my UFO that I have. I'm going to bury it out in the backyard.
Right next to my old dog. Bless it.
Exactly. I'm going to bury it and hide it.
Yeah. I do have to read these. These are two other paragraphs. And it's okay, guys, that you're typing in those. I just have to take time to read them. So if they get missed, I'm sorry. It's pretty standard behavior. A government funds a research facility, but to continue advancing that research, it requires bigger, more expensive facilities. The government then licenses out the materials and gives excess investment funds. Then they grant exclusivity rights to the company. Then the government gets first dibs on the tech. We have seen, that actually is a thing that happens globally. It's not just a U.S. thing. That actually does happen. And we're even talking like even in archaeological digs and stuff. Right. Okay.
You can't make this stuff up. So the shadowy organization I was talking about that runs the national labs under a contract from the Department of Energy, that's called the Patel Memorial Institute, and it's a nonprofit organization that develops weapons. Mm-hmm. What?
No, go ahead.
They keep losing their nonprofit status. So this is the most shadowy, weird organization you could possibly have in a country, like something out of the X-Files, but they exist, and they are contracted to run the national labs of the U.S.
Yeah.
They literally make our nuclear weapons. They do all kinds of things, and all you need to do is look it up, and it will blow your mind that this is allowed to exist.
Yeah. Bill said the experience of reverse engineering Fog Bank produced some improvements in scientific knowledge of the process. The new production scientists noticed that certain problems in production resembled those noted by the original team. These problems were traced to a particular impurity in the final product that was required to meet quality standards. A root cause investigation showed that input materials were subject to cleaning processes that had not existed during the original production run.
That's right. They back engineered it, and then it didn't work. So they looked at why exactly is this not working, and they found that the imprecise nature of the manufacture was when you clean it, the material. We have better ways of cleaning now than they did in 1980. Right. So the problem, though, is that it may actually not have been that, and this isn't in the Wikipedia article. It may be that the guy that knew that you needed that impurity died and didn't tell anybody. Mm-hmm. We don't know. We don't know.
And this is what is so frustrating about this. Like, again, going back to that committee hearing, it just, people have to be able to talk at the end of the day. And yeah, I mean, I understand like protecting certain things, but also there was some nuance to some of what they said, where they said it was non-human. And I appreciated that actually quite a bit, that they said non-human, because that leaves a lot open. If they had said something totally different, then I probably would have been like, all right, this is a load of horse shit.
If it would have said alien or extraterrestrial, but nobody wants to do that because how do you know? We don't know anything about this.
Right.
So if there's evidence of an intelligence operating in your atmosphere with you, you can't immediately pin it on aliens. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because other people had, like Adam Frank, advanced a hypothesis called the Silurian hypothesis, that we can't actually rule out that there haven't been prior technological civilizations on Earth because the geologic record is too incomplete.
Yeah, and it's so short. It's so
Yeah.
short in its timeline, right?
So his point was you can't rule it out. Doesn't mean it was, but you can't rule it out.
Right.
And that's the big problem with close aliens. And that's why I always focused on SETI, was because if you see an alien civilization at, I don't know, 50 light years, you can reasonably say that's aliens.
Right, right.
Actually,
Yeah.
their radio signal, you can say that. If it's sitting here and crashing into New Mexico, it's a lot harder to say that it's alien. And that we haven't got to that stage of the debate as far as what's going on with us, because we just don't know. But the closer the alien civilization is, the more likely it is to be related to you somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. And Wanagi just said, so Wanagi's a geologist, said that's so very true about missing geological timelines, John. It's true. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're missing so much. We just have a sampling.
Yeah, we're just a blink. Yeah.
And the other thing too is that people tend to think that our materials would last a lot longer than they actually do. Like the plastics, we talk about microplastics and all of this. 25,000 years from now, they're gone. There are actually papers out there regarding that, I mean, maybe some rebar concrete, might get fossilized in the record. You might see some right angles and stuff like that. Quarry 10 million years from now.
Yeah.
But our technology does not last forever.
I mean, those cave paintings, we watched your thing on cave paintings. That was incredible.
Yeah. But they're only, I mean, how old are they? 42
exactly. Yeah.
years,
Yep.
And we're very lucky, we're extremely lucky to even have them,
right.
Because imagine if you went into Chauvet Cave in France, where they, these beautiful paintings of aurochs and bison and mammoths and things exist. Go in there with a garden hose and it's gone, because it's all just, it's literally ash.
I know. But it's, I mean, God, they have so much meaning. We went down the rabbit hole on that one. That was a great.
So amazing that, for the last 100 years in archaeology, we've been like, okay, we see the animal paintings in all these caves. What are the dots and dashes and weird stuff?
Yeah, and that had meaning.
And they had meaning, and they were writing things down and telling other humans that were moving through the area, this is when the life cycle of this animal is. This is when it gives birth. Don't kill it until after. Let it give birth. Let it propagate.
Right.
And then eat it, And it was all based on the lunar calendar, and it was all based on the ending of the last frost, I think it was.
Right.
So now that they figured that out, boom, we suddenly understand.
Yeah.
And that is someone from over 40,000 years ago talking to us, telescoping time and giving us a message, just like one would write a book. Or, you might read a book that's 300 years old, and it's that person leaving a record for you later in time,
right,
and telling you what exactly was important to them and how they lived their lives.
Yeah. Commander says that meteors are extraterrestrial, aren't they?
They are, of course, but they're rocks.
They're rocks. Yeah. Oh, okay. So also, if you hear some clicking, like it's a version of Doogie Howser, that's just John with his mouse. That's probably circa 1998.
1988, actually.
Oh, okay. Well,
yes.
I was barely even alive. I was barely even a thing.
Oh, how old was I in 1988? I think I was 13.
Oh my God.
Something around those, maybe 14.
Yeah. So if you hear John clicking like that.
Yes. What it means is that I'm about to drop a video on the JMG channel.
The JMG channel is also down here, and I will open that in a new tab, which has 355,000 subscribers. So you've got two that you can see all of the things. And there's John looking not like a mugshot. John?
What?
Okay. That's not John's.
Oh, that's me. Yes. Yes, that's my beautiful photograph that everyone would kill me if I ever changed that I took in my bathroom in 2016.
Yeah, subscribe to this man. Both of these channels, I will just copy them real quick in very quick format, okay? So there's that one, and then the Event Horizon. Both of these are amazing. Can we add Eryn? Add Eryn, John.
There are many. I don't know how to add her.
Yes, you do.
Right? What? Do I?
Eryn, tell John how to add.
Skype. Oh, we're on Skype. Okay, I think I can do that.
Add participants. I can. Hold on. Eryn, I got you. I got it. John, I got it. I'm taking the wheel. All right.
This person is not available. Please leave a message after the beep.
Welcome to calling Eryn, by the way. Every time I call her, this bitch does this, okay?
Who are you calling a bitch? Also, beep.
Beep. Yeah, I've been really bad about promoting my Patreon. That's right now because I just got more things in to mail out letters. We do have a Patreon. This might be a good time to talk about it. If you like what I do here, there's a Patreon, and it's not, you're not going to get weird photos. You're not going to get weird shit. You also can completely anonymously sign up for Patreon. So that is a thing. If you have people that might be like, oh, that's weird. I'm just a science nerd chick. I'm not going to show you my tits. I'm not going to show you my feet. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. That's going to go on the YouTube. Beep.
I've got a bit of LeBaron trivia for you, John. Did you know that the LeBaron was the first ever car to feature automatic air conditioning when the ride hits 55 miles per hour? Did you know that?
It makes sense because it's a fucking boat, so it's going to go over 55.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to have some.
Do you know what year that was?
Well, wait a minute. The roof blows off.
What?
I'm going to do the same thing. What?
What? This is, yes, I probably uttered that word to Eryn at least
20 million times. Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, I've got something for you. I'll need to.
Oh, wait. We have a question for the guests. Why would a society that is capable of interstellar travel contact the human? Ooh, this is a good one. Unreliable witness. I appreciate
I have a good answer for it. All right.
Are you ready, John?
I'm in.
Question to the guest. Why would a society that's capable of interstellar travel contact the human race? Or more to the point, why not? Considering the animalistic nature of our race.
Think of it this way. All right. If alien intelligence is rare, say there's only, at any given time in the Milky Way, say there are only 5 civilizations that exist, we automatically become interesting because we are an incidence of intelligence that is separate from them. So they would come in like the anthropologists and the scientists and just be interested in us in the same way that we're interested in anthills. There are people who specialize, scientists who specialize in studying anthills. They would have that sort of curiosity about us, even though they may be far in advance of us in many ways, whether it's socially, technologically, anything like that. So we might be interesting simply because we exist. And remove humans from this. Why wouldn't an alien civilization be interested in coming to Earth 70 million years ago and seeing dinosaur world, right? How would that not be interesting? So I don't prescribe to the notion that aliens wouldn't be interested in us because we're animalistic or problematic or whatever, which we are. I prescribe to the theory that they would be interested in us because they would be scientists. If they've come up with interstellar travel, they're probably very curious, and they probably would be interested in studying us and documenting us. Maybe there are alien filmmakers that would want to come here and take pictures of Earth. But you can take it to an even weirder standpoint. We are the only planet in the solar system, other than Jupiter and Callisto, that sees total solar eclipses. These things are rare. You know, that where the angular size of the moon is exactly the same as the sun. So maybe they're tourists and they come here to look at something natural that we have that they don't have. You know, it's like going to the Grand Canyon or something like that. That's not to say that they're doing that, but that gives you a sort of an idea or framework to think about the motives on why they would be interested in us and this world. Hope that answers the question.
And to further the answer, people that study ants are called entomologists.
I just want Eryn to narrate my life.
And here, you see, the lesser internet hobo in his natural environment.
Yeah, this is not what I wanted.
Unfortunately, the hobo has run out of coffee.
I do not want Eryn Knight narrating my life.
Back and forth in terror.
She knows
the final video uploaded, or do I have to start the process again?
Yeah, see.
That's your life done.
I'm thinking twice, John. I'm thinking twice.
This is how Event Horizon works behind the scenes. Yes.
In today's show, Skylias is talking to Eryn Knight, and over in the Missourian corner, reinforcing stoner stereotypes, it's John Michael Godier.
I am the ultimate. Well, look what I do on YouTube.
You are internet hobo.
Yes.
Boxcar and all.
Yeah.
Can I reserve you guys for 10 minutes? Because I'm going to wrap this up, and then maybe we could call Dr. Neuro.
Yes, let's call Dr. Neuro.
Oh no! Don't leave your streamer.
Yeah, no, the stream has to end because I want to have that without I mean, we have to put up goals for that kind of stuff. So.
But we need streamer people.
Yeah, well, I still exist, and you know,
cannot leave them.
I feel the same way every time I close the stream.
I know
it's an attachment issue that I have, and it's never been good because
Please, Mrs. Skylias, don't take the stream.
Eryn, okay, so this is what happens. Okay, do you hear this?
Please don't make them go away. I don't want to be on my own. I like it when the streamer people see the words going up my screen.
You sound like salad
fingers. It makes me feel not alone. Brings light to my unwise, dreadful, dark night time because it's 3:30 in the bloody morning.
I can't. I actually do hear John.
There's lots of colours on my screen.
God. Eryn, for God's sake.
I can't.
You're making us for Clint.
Yeah, I'm like, actually, I'm working hard here. Yeah, can you make a GPS voice? Chat ask Eryn with that.
In the next junction, turn left or don't. I don't care.
No, I don't. I do not want this GPS voice in my freaking truck.
You have reached your destination. It wasn't far, was it? Didn't really need a GPS, did you? But like me, you don't like to be alone. Just like to hear a voice from the corner of your empty car.
Oh, God.
The car signifies your life, emptiness.
All
just
right.
You.
That is just totally masterful.
I will pay for this, people. I can't. Wait, can we get GPS Eryn? We'll have GPS Eryn on soon because maybe that's the way she can talk about my biscuit dunking.
I'm sorry I didn't tell you about the bridge being out. It was nice knowing you, though. Bye.
Oh, God.
Wait to end it. I'm actually gonna end the call on Skype real quick, and I will call you guys right back.
Freaking epic.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for the wonderful stream. Chat. This is the Event Horizon crew. Well, a part of it. Ross is in chat, and Ross is also probably dead right now. Ross is also probably trying to recover his lungs because it's probably not good.
He's been dead for so long, he's making a smell.
Jesus.
Okay, very dead. So we're gonna wrap it up here, and I will. You guys will be hearing more from this wonderful crew. Thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you in like 2 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
See you later.
Bye.
Thanks for having me on again. And it's never going to be normal when we do this.
Never. And so that's why it must continue. So thank you guys.
We have to keep going.
Thank you for bringing moving pictures into my life.